Pretty volatile day we had today. I was expecting a pretty good green day because I was looking for us to hold that 370.5 support that I mentioned yesterday, and that we were going to try to test 378. I did not expect us to test 378 and then also go all the way back down and retest 370.5 before almost retesting 378 again. It was a very, very volatile day, and we had a lot of movement today. Overall, there are some bullish things to take and some bearish things to take. So going into next week, you can see we have this really large rising wedge right here that now has a 3-day support built into it, and it's also a 3-day resistance. So this is a pretty strong rising wedge right here. You can see we have the 2-day resistance that started the day before FOMC and FOMC. So basically this is our key breakout triangle and then rising wedge. What I'm going to be looking for Monday and next week, and I am pretty bullish going into next week with CPI and also midterms. I think we do see at least Monday and Tuesday rally. Maybe Wednesday will sell off, but at least Monday and Tuesday I do expect to be green. I'm going to look for this 378 level to finally get broken again and closed over. That will be an important level for the bulls to take out. Once they take that out, they're going to break through here at 379.9, and then they're going to need to test this resistance on Monday, which comes in right here at 382.2. From there, pretty much we're just going to try to end up somewhere in this range before CPI on Thursday. Pretty much looking right here at 390.1 is the next major level. However, if 378 remains resistance, we really could just see some choppiness here. You saw what kind of happened back here. We just kind of maintained this level, so we finally broke. So depending on which way we close over next is where we're going to go. So if we do close under this level of 370.6 on Monday, then pretty much we are going to start looking for some downside actually. But if we do close over this level, then that's where I'm going to be looking for. So really these are our two major pivot points right here. Looking at the weekly chart, so you can see we had a rising wedge forming on the weekly chart here, and we have this nice bull channel formed right here. But if you zoom out, you can see with the actual support from the 2022 bear market, we actually have a really nice falling wedge forming too that we did test resistance, but we did not break through. Really, we could adjust this resistance down here and we could form a new rising wedge, which I will do that and kind of monitor that for next week. But the biggest takeaways here is we pretty much had an inside week. So we stayed within the previous price range, which many times that actually can be seen as bullish rather than bearish. And the biggest thing here is we did come down to retest the 200 weekly EMA, and we did hold it. So really I do see some upside potential for next week. We're definitely going to need to break through this resistance right here, which for the weekly resistance will be at 387. And then we'll want to hold support, which actually is right back here at 375.7. So those are our main weekly levels. And then from there, we get right here at 390. And then we come back down here all the way to 363.6. With CPI next week, this was the last CPI right here. And this was October CPI. You can see we should pretty much have a really big weekly candle. Going over the futures, futures has the same nice rising wedge right here. It only has 2 touches on each one though, but it's really nice rising wedge. So biggest thing that I'm seeing here on futures that happened is that we actually have a bullishly engulfing daily candle, which is more bullish, especially after 1, 2, 3, 4 red days. And then we put in this nice double bottom right here, and this should push us up next week for sure. So pretty much we held this really nice 37.25 support right here, but most importantly we came down and we touched 37.05 support and held that in 37.10. So from there, with this rising wedge, we'll look for support to hold right back there at that 37.25 area, and then they're going to need to take out this major resistance right here at 38.05. You can see, and I tried to highlight it in purple, but I guess it didn't come through. I'll make that a little bit more of a bigger level. I guess I did up there, but this level right here is a key level. You can see, just like this level down here is a key level that we want to try to break through, and that kind of separates the channels. And you can see that we have this area down here we chopped in, we have this area we chopped in, and then we have this bigger range up here all the way up to the 4100 area. So once we break through 3805, then the next target really is going to be 3925, which is where we fell short last time, and that puts us right around the daily 100 EMA. If we were to break through 38.10 area, then we're going to start coming down here to 36.75, and then eventually we can start thinking about 35.90 again. Looking at the futures weekly, same thing. We have a really nice rising wedge form right here, and we have the bull channel, but then we have the falling wedge too. It's actually a lot of wedges within wedges and channels. So we have the bigger bear channel, which is the green solid lines. Then we have the rising wedge in the bear channel. So we have a bull channel inside the bear channel with the rising wedge inside the bull channel. Lots of patterns here. So the biggest thing we're looking for here is we did have a double top though, so that is a reversal, which you did see here. But however, we are holding this 37.75 level so well here, we actually really could just see a second reversal up with a double bottom. So kind of like something you see here where we have come down, we double bottom, go up, and then come back down, but the opposite. You can see this pattern's happened quite a few times. Come down, double bottom, so then we go up, and then we just come back down. So basically the opposite. So we went up, we double topped, come down, double bottom, and up is a potential trend. Obviously CPI can throw this all over though. Main things next week, this 37.75 is the rising wedge support, and then key resistance for the falling wedge, bigger one here, is 38.90, and then really 39.15, 39.10 is the major level that the bulls will want to retake. Going over to Apple. Apple had a pretty crazy day. If you didn't look at the 15-minute chart today, this was one of the craziest big candles I've seen. It was almost a $6 candle total that I've seen on a day that's not like earnings or like CPI or FOMC or something like that. Like just a random Friday. I have not seen that type of candle before. Which even Tesla this morning had similar, just massive sell-off too. It was very, very volatile. Anyways, biggest thing to take away here is we have this same falling wedge, this black one right here on the daily. But we have this really, really, really steep bear channel right here. We kind of had a similar thing happening back here. The thing that happened though is we had a nice double top here that brought us back down, and we had a massive drop. We came within a penny of the October CPI low, and then we bounced and we were able to recover and close over 138.1 support. So I actually really wanted to play some Apple calls over the weekend just because of how well this held support and that recoil that it had, but it was already too late in the day. And I already was swinging some Tesla calls, and I opened some SPY calls instead. But with this holding this 138.21 support and recovering end of day, I am looking for a push. I don't know really what happened last week, but Apple just had four, pretty incredible red days in a row. So, like I said, it pretty much everything that it gained on earnings and pretty much all of the progress that it had since, almost for a month now, was just erased in 4 days. It was one of the biggest drops that I've seen on Apple in a while. With talking about that, though, it actually was the reddest week Apple has had since March 2020 during the COVID crash. It was the biggest red week that Apple's put in. But you can see here even more this 138.1 level, why it's so important. Even back in the June lows and May lows, you can see how well it held that, which back then that was the 100 EMA. We did close back under the 100 EMA, but I'm going to be looking for a 138.1 double bottom and try to push back up here, maybe target 147.2 next week. But we're in this bear channel, and if we break through this 138.1, then I'm going to be looking for 133.4, and then looking for the 52-week low, which is right there at 129.04. We really could, if it was a really, really bad week, even come down to 124.6 and actually put in a new 52-week low. Looking at Tesla, Tesla was extremely volatile today too. It actually put in a $20.72 move from peak to trough today. That's 156% of its average 10-day move, which is usually only about $13. So Tesla also had a really, really massive day. Like I said, it had a nice dump, pop, and then it just sold off, and it did a nice little recovery end of day there. But that was a very aggressive sell-off on Tesla. And SPY had the same sell-off today too, though it just wasn't as aggressive or as big, I guess I should say. But Biggest thing I'm seeing here, we have a really nice diamond pattern formed on Tesla. We kind of established the support here again, and now we're going to be looking for upside. So I've been talking about this red channel for a while here on Tesla, this 234 to 205.6 level. I'm saying pretty much until we break that, we don't really have a direction where we're going. Overall, though, the closer we are to 205.6, the more I'm bullish. And as I was expected, I actually had bought calls right here because I had suspected we were going to hold 210, and we actually come down here, and I did average down in this range. I was almost green before in a day, but I'm expecting next week to be able to get out of those with their 7 DTE. But with this recoil, and you can see here, this is the 4th time since October 20th that we have broken below 205.6, but not closed below it. And really, I mean, we broke below it on October 14th and barely closed below it, but then immediately jumped over it. So we actually are looking at a similar pattern here. We had this huge sell-off, a massive bearish engulfing day at this lower range here, and then we had a really big green Monday. So I'm kind of looking for a similar thing. I think we're going to be able to at least open somewhere near this 210 range, and then we're going to try to take out somewhere, get up here in this 215 to 220 range. I really think this 205.6 support will hold, at least early in the week. Obviously, if CPI comes in bad, then everything's off the table. But for the most part, anytime we're close to 205.6, I think that's a call opportunity. And apparently, as close as we get to 234, that's a put opportunity. Looking at the weekly, you can see we have this really nice weekly bear channel that started back in September here on that big sell-off. We are actually coming into a really nice breakout channel here. So we didn't quite break down to the 100 or the 200 weekly EMA. We broke over the 8 EMA here, but we couldn't quite stay over it, obviously. So you can see the same like little consolidation channel we have going here. On the weekly, it's closer to 204.7 to 228.6. So really in that range is the same thing. The closer we are down here, the more I expect upside. The weekly breakout channel, though, support would be 207.5, and resistance is going to be 224.5. We are sitting right at that 50% retracement of the bear channel, too. So last, we have the VIX here. Overall, we're still selling off, and we're kind of getting in the same range we were last CPI, or the CPI in September, where we had that huge red day. So kind of seeing the same thing. Obviously, we were on an uptrend, but then we went on a downtrend before CPI, and the day before we saw the spike finally. We did have that when we had that big 11:15 a.m. till pretty much 2 o'clock sell-off. We had a really big recoil of the VIX all the way back up into the 25.5 range, but then at the end of the day, it started dropping. I was looking for more of a reversal candle here, but this is going to be more of a continuation, I'm thinking here. And I do think next week we're going to test this 23.5 level. I don't know if people break below it or not, but for me, the lower the VIX is going into CPI, the bigger the move is going to be for CPI, whether it misses or beats. I'm personally forming for a miss. I'm going to release my CPI trade analysis this weekend or next week sometime. But more or less, I think we're going to miss, and I think we're going to get a pretty big reaction, very much similar to September. Looking at Bitcoin, so Bitcoin actually is looking incredibly bullish. One interesting thing about Bitcoin here is, I'm going to zoom out so you can see this, but this is now the first time that Bitcoin, if this candle, so this would be the Friday going tomorrow night, Saturday, if Bitcoin closes over 21.1K, which is the 100 EMA on the daily, that'll be the first time it's closed over that since April of this year. So that's pretty impressive, actually, a recovery that Bitcoin has had this week. And that's also the kind of intriguing thing, is that crypto has been looking really strong this last 2 weeks, and then obviously if you look at SPY, it has not. We kind of trended with it here, but this last week, end of the week at least, we were really red. But Bitcoin never really got smacked down. Even yesterday's candle, which this would be yesterday as in Friday because it closes at 8 o'clock, was a 5% gain. So that's a pretty big day. And even with like FOMOC and stuff, we didn't really have too red of a day. But with crypto holding its 20 EMA here, I am pretty bullish. We're kind of hitting our limits here, which is at 20.2. So it'll be interesting to see what crypto does this weekend, but I think this is going to lead us into a bullish week for like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday even maybe, and we even could see crypto come up here into the 22.4 range for Bitcoin before CPI comes in. And then depending on what happens to CPI, I mean, if CPI really does beat, we really could see Bitcoin come up here to like the 24.5 range and test 200 EMA. But if it misses, and I think that's going to start another sell-off, and we'll come down here back into the 19 to 20 range. So, all right, I hope you guys have a good weekend, and I will see you guys on Monday. Thanks for tuning into this video. Don't forget to go ahead and like and subscribe to stay updated. Here's the lifetime Discord link. If you're interested, go ahead and you can type that into your browser. If that one doesn't work, just go ahead and send me a message or drop me a comment, and I will give you a new link. Here's some of the benefits. I do a pre-market analysis every day with key support and resistance level. I do a live commentary all day long on SPY. I do post my live intraday scalps and level-to-level plays. You can follow me on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, or TikTok, and on Reddit, my name is Daddy Dirsch.